there's kind of a top five that I've seen. I know there's maybe a couple other people that have been mentioned that might also be, meeting, or maybe they've already met. I don't know. I've heard I think was it Tom Cotton, I believe, was also going to be thrown into this. But the main list that we've been hearing about for a while has been, it's mostly been, Mitt Romney or Rudy Giuliani. John Bolton has been up there for a while. David Petraeus, General Petraeus was in yesterday. There's also this Representative Dana Rohrabacher of California, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly. Somebody I've heard of, but not super familiar with. But I did do a little research on this, and I did pick up a very excellent article last night from Steve Buchanek, who threw this out on Twitter last night, because there are a lot of people that want to sound in. Now, it's notable is Mitt Romney was kind of this big front runner for somebody who was supposed to be a major contender for the position, and I didn't really understand that. I don't know if there's something going on with the they're trying to make deals with the establishment Republicans, and kind of keep them and incorporate them and put them in a few positions of power. And and I totally understand getting a guy like Reince Priebus as the what is he, chief of staff or something like that. He knows everybody, knows how to get things done, and knows how to communicate, and you don't totally trust him, but you understand where Trump is coming from, and it's good to be working across the aisle and working with some of these people, and that's healthy and good, and I'm glad it's happening. And Trump took Mike Pence, who's a kind of an establishment guy, but also just an old-fashioned, reasonable, nice guy, and I get that too. I mean, I wouldn't want to be under his authority necessarily as a kind of an old-fashioned social conservative from Indiana. I don't completely resonate with that, but I get it, and he seems like a good man. And so I realize you got to make a few things. You got to make some people happy. But there has been such an enormous backlash with Mitt Romney. People don't trust him, including myself. I don't like him at all. I think it would be a terrible pick. I don't know why he wants to do it in the first place, but I wouldn't trust him if he did. That is a very powerful position, and you can't let somebody as corrupt as Mitt Romney in that spot. And so I would be extremely disappointed if he did that. But I trust Trump to make the right decisions. He's smarter, knows a lot more about this kind of stuff than I do. And at the end of the day, I'm going to respect his opinion and try to But I really hope it's not Mitt Romney. Rudy Giuliani, I'm also not a fan of by any means, but I get that there's history between him and Donald Trump in New York, and there's some good things that he does. I would think there'd be better picks than that. Of course, we're familiar with John Bolton. Again, I'm not a big fan of him either. He's very experienced. He's qualified in many ways, but I think that's also we could do much better than that. Someone newer and fresher. And I guess that's where it comes down to the last two. Again, this is the top five. It could be somebody else. David Petraeus was there yesterday, who's from what I understand, a very highly regarded guy. A good worker. There's so many things that are good to say about him. He's a realist, and very highly qualified for that. His only issue, of course, is this problem where he gave a lot of classified data to his mistress at that time. He was compromised. I don't know if this information actually got out, but it was one thing where he's letting her he's the mistress. She's been in the Army. She's a writer. She's doing his biography. I guess maybe I could understand if he shouldn't have done it, but he let her look at some of these notebooks just to, I don't know, see what he was all about. Who knows what the all the reasoning was? But a lot of this information, I guess, they found on our computers. So you don't want to do that. I don't exactly know how high level this classified data was, but I mean, it was careless for somebody in his position, and of course, with Hillary and all the things. I mean, what she did was way beyond, from what I understand, way beyond what David Petraeus did. But I don't know. I'm not authorized to see any of this information, so I couldn't really tell you. Um, but anyway, that's the major problem there. Petraeus has all the qualifications in the world, should be a shoe-in, but with that problem well, with his email problem, or sorry, not his email, but his sharing classified data with somebody who wasn't authorized to see it. That's obviously bad news. So, but he could still get there, and I would understand the pick if he did. But it's obviously going to be controversial for that reason. Now, this other representative is Dana Rohrabacher. Again, I'm not too terribly familiar with, but kind of brushed up, kind of did a little basic research on him, and he seems very favorable. Seems actually very qualified. He seems very anti-war. Somebody that kind of wants to, pull us out of Afghanistan completely, which would be great. Very much, nationalist, constitutionalist. Was one of the few people that voted against NDAA. From what I see on paper and by voting record, he seems very qualified. And not a name that I think a lot of people are familiar with, but somebody who does seem to fit well. That would be a good choice. So I'm hoping it comes down to obviously him or Petraeus, and nothing personal with Giuliani, but he's old, and he's kind of a shady character, not the best. Romney's horrible. Bolton, we can do better, and that's he's also very hawkish. But anyway, I guess that would be my take on it. Now I'm reading this Steve Pieczenik article. He's of course a big fan of General Petraeus, and that's very understandable. So hopefully that's what we will see. One of those two guys or somebody as good or better. And that's all. I guess we'll find out very soon. So that's my take on that.